Hello and welcome to Fallacy Friday. What we are going to be doing today is going through some guy bitching on YouTube about atheists, and I'm going to call out the fallacies as I hear them. Now, what you can draw from this is when you're watching these videos, this is one particular mindset that you might want to keep in mind.
Engineer, a conscious pioneer, a logic general, a reason brigadier. More bullshit from the pulpit. Meet me in the comment section and you get schooled, bitch. The godless engineer.
For anybody out there who aligns themselves with atheism, and if you're easily offended, it's as simple as this. I invite you to watch other videos where your point of view is shared. I think this website, YouTube that is, represents a pretty telling dichotomy of society, and the ideas and opinions expressed here are indicative of people at large. Much of what I'm going to say here is based on my experiences right here on YouTube.
Alright, hanging on, but while we're hanging on, how about we talk about the anecdotal fallacy that you just presented? Basically, you just stated that your entire video here is an anecdotal thing, is that this is your own personal experience on YouTube. That is straight anecdotal evidence. Whether or not you have experienced something does not make something a true representation of the situation. Just because you have experienced something doesn't mean that we can reproduce it in any kind of real way. Further explanation on what an anecdotal fallacy is, it's when you use these personal stories like this guy is going and doing right here. It's when you use them as your actual argument against something or for something or whatnot. What he's about to argue is about how horrible the online atheist community is, their general intelligence level, and how the quote-unquote average atheists act online or act in general. He's using pure anecdotal evidence, and that is not a good way to argue your point.
I've had this conversation with atheists before, and even with less fanatical atheists, I always get the same knee-jerk response. Oh, well, it goes both ways. And that's true, you know, to an extent, yes, it does go both ways. Christians can be incredibly judgmental, cliquish, materialistic, etc. But when it comes to grade A numero uno hypocrisy, oh my god. The inauthentic, spoon-fed rhetoric, historical fabrications, and blaringly obvious lack of civility and, well, intolerance of internet atheists at large is symptomatic of that hypocrisy. So atheists, as hypocritical as Christians can be, really, it's time for you to check yourselves. Atheist trolls seem to dominate the internet.
Now what he has presented here is basically a two-cookie fallacy. And what that is basically when you have somebody that's saying, hey, you do this shit, and then instead of providing an actual argument back, you're saying, hey, you do that shit too. You're not providing an actual argument here. You're just saying, hey, you atheists are hypocritical too, so I don't see what you're all pissy about with Christians being hypocritical. Okay, you're not making an argument. It's a fallacious argument, but more importantly, it's not an argument to begin with. You're just pointing right back at the atheists for being hypocrites. This is not news. This is not something that atheists are like, holy shit, we're hypocritical sometimes? God damn, I had no idea we were hypocritical. I thought we were just the most perfect motherfuckers on this earth.
Yeah, people, it's hypocrisy at its finest. And if you wish to become better acquainted with atheist hypocrisy, you need look no further than The Amazing Atheist. The Amazing Atheist, single guy, he runs a channel here on YouTube. I'm sure many of you have heard of him. And let me tell you, wow. And judging by the comments his troops post on his videos, his troops is a term I sarcastically use in reference to his fans, which for the most part, and I want to emphasize the words most part so nobody can accuse me of disparaging all of his fans, they are hypocritical as all get out, especially when it comes to Christianity. They whine and menstruate all over the cyber landscape.
Now, what he's about to get into here is basically a composition slash division fallacy. And basically what that fallacy is when you say that one particular part of a population or a group or a set is representative of the set, group, or population on the whole. It would be like saying that, oh, this one particular group of white people are rednecky and white trash. Therefore, they're all rednecky and white trash. That is basically a composition division fallacy. And that's also, that one that I've just now used is usually used against Southerners. I'm from the South myself, North Alabama, and, you know, a lot of people generalize Southerners as being white trash, hickey, rednecks. While we may have our days when that is definitely the case, just that small sampling of people that are that way all the time does not indicate the entirety of the South. Normally this is also painting with a broad brush. I know a lot of atheists might do this with Christians, but hopefully most of that is just not having specific enough language. That's why I try to use specific enough language, and why in any kind of argument I think people should use specific enough language. But basically he's setting up the Amazing Atheist here to represent the online atheism or atheism community as a whole. I think TJ would agree that he represents a portion of the atheist community, or he just pretty much represents himself. That's how I see it too. I think I represent myself. I think that the atheist community is pretty diverse, and you can't paint us with a broad brush at all.
That we Christians somehow force our ways on them. How? Exactly. Let's take a look at that, shall we? What in their addle-pated brains constitutes as quote-unquote forcing our beliefs? Quite often, secular people will deliberately mischaracterize any public display of Christianity as forcing. Who forces you to say one nation under God? Can you answer me that? Who forces you to look at Christmas trees? It's simple. Don't look.
We happen to have covered this particular fallacy before. It is typically called a straw man. What he's doing is he is building up a particular position that is easily torn down, and he's making it seem like it is the main position, and then he proceeds to tear it down, thus creating an imaginary straw man and pushing on it lightly just to make it topple and being like, haha, I won. The straw man that he's presenting is that he's saying that most atheists or secularists, they have a problem with Christians pushing their dogma into the public sphere by Christmas trees or by saying the pledge and all that. He's saying that we have a problem with just the words or the mere fact that they're Christmas trees. This would extend to people on their own personal time or their own personal property. I guarantee you that most atheists, I would say 99% of atheists, don't have a problem with you putting up a tree in your own house. And they most definitely don't have a problem with you inserting God into the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, most of them will say that, well, we're a secular nation, and the Pledge of Allegiance didn't start out mentioning God at all. It actually started out as a very positive message of, coming together as a one nation and, not under God, but just as one nation in general, presenting a united front of all peoples that live here. Because, we're a fucking melting pot and shit. But the straw man is that he's saying that we have a problem simply with the Pledge of Allegiance, or simply with, Christmas decorations or Christmas trees or whatnot. That's not the issue. The issue is when people try to put this stuff on public land or try to use public money in order to, enforce it. Like right now, there's a big push in our society not to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And, you know, some people are taking that a lot more seriously than they should, because there's no rules anywhere saying that every single fucking American has to say the Pledge of Allegiance. There's even been some court cases brought up that have wanted to take "In God We Trust" off of our money, as well as "One Nation Under God" out of our pledge, and return it to the pre-1950s pledge. This isn't us being offended by your faith. This is us trying to stick with the Constitution. The Constitution says that we shouldn't put, you know, one particular religion up on a pedestal. The government shouldn't be pushing one religion. And when you put up a Christmas tree or put up a nativity scene in a courthouse and you disallow other religious expressions of a seasonal time of year, you're violating the Constitution. And that is simply what is at the heart of all that.
Every day, more concessions are being made to pacify your camp. Nobody asks you to keep your values under lock and key, yet your bigotry compels you to ask that of us. And once again, no civility at all. Do the world a favor and don't procreate? Go fuck yourself with a cactus? I could go on. These are all verbatim quotes. And no, not directed at me personally. People get drunk on their digital courage. Go back to your underpass and sleep it off. You know, seems to me much of this crap seems to stem from some sort of microaggression.
Now, what you just committed is called the false cause fallacy. And you presumed a relationship between two independent things and stated the one thing as the cause of the other, when you have no evidence to support that particular claim, or you don't present any evidence to support that claim. That's what you just fucking did. What you did was, you know, you said that you figure microaggressions are the reason why atheists are so angry. I don't think so. Maybe atheists come out of religion angry because either they've been raped, or maybe they have been wronged in some way by their religion or religious family members. I guarantee you a good portion of them have lost family members because of their religion. There are multiple reasons why somebody could be mad at religion. I have a friend that was indoctrinated very, very hard, and he felt so horrible about himself because of his sexuality, and when he came out of it, he was very mad, especially at his father, who happens to be a preacher and who happens to preach against homosexuality in his congregation. So he's pretty pissed off, and it's not because of microaggressions, it's because religion, or rather the individuals in the religion using religion, they used it to abuse him. That's why he's mad. So, assuming that microaggressions are the reason for all atheists to be mad or angry, if they in fact are mad or angry, is completely unfounded. And if it is actually founded, you need to present evidence to suggest this. Not just speculate like you're fucking doing right here.
I'd like to share something with you. This is regarding a very prominent atheist. I'm sure you all are familiar with him, by the name of Richard Dawkins. This guy is a total hate monger. Mock and ridicule Christians with contempt. That is a direct quote.
Now, what he just did could be construed as an appeal to authority. Basically, with an appeal to authority is that you said that because an authority says something, regardless of the field that he's in, you said that an authority claims something and therefore it must be true just because that authority said it. And that's the case that you're building here. You're saying that Richard Dawkins is an authority in the field of atheism. You're saying that he is an almighty, person or whatever in atheism. But what you're doing here is that you're saying that because Richard Dawkins says this, and he's an authority in the field of atheism, that because he said this one particular thing, that means that that is what atheism is about, or that is the main driving force behind atheism. And you're saying that it's that way just because he is a prominent figure in the field. That is a classic appeal to authority. And it's not a good argument. I think that you need to come back with a better argument. Thank you for joining me on this Fallacy Friday. If you like the information presented here, go down there and give me a like. Also, leave your comments as to whether or not I am right or wrong about these particular fallacies. If you found this video, helpful in some way, leave a comment down below. Let me know how it's been helpful to you. If you feel like I could do this better, leave a comment down below. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing to me. And you can't